Welcome back to BWO Daily, your source for news in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. From you boys at Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. And a report came out today from the Wrestling Observer News. Yes, Dave Meltzer once again breaking a story, but it's not really a story. It's more like a speculation on why Apollo Crews was not at Extreme Rules last night. Excuse me, the horror show at Extreme Rules last night. Got to make sure I say that right.
Right.
Why was Apollo not there? He was scheduled up until the last minute. They had actually advertised that match. And at the last second, it seemed, they suddenly made it not into a match, but into a brief MVP promo where he came out and said that because of a full Nelson that Bobby Lashley had put on Apollo Crews, he was unable to compete. Now, obviously, that seemed very strange to those of us watching the pay-per-view and to many others at home. Why would they do that? Why would they promote a match? Why would they still have something on the show? It all seemed very strange, but it apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, it's because of something to do with COVID-19. We speculated this last night on our recap show, Nick, as to what it was that could have possibly kept Apollo off the show, why the sequence of events played out the way that they did. Apparently, it is COVID-related, although Uncle Dave would not go so far as to say he actually had contracted the virus or tested positive. It could have been someone nearby him had it, and then they weren't sure about the test. They couldn't tell if it was tested positive or not. We know he's coming back to the show tonight. He's going to get tested again tonight. So, again, lots of things up in the air. But The one thing that seems to be confirmed is that it had something to do with the virus. And now it's interesting because we're in a position right now at WWE where for months there, they weren't really testing people appropriately. And it came back to bite them in the butt where a number of people came down with it at one time. And it was reported that up to 30 people might have actually tested positive in WWE at one point. But WWE put the moratorium on anyone talking about it after a couple of major leaks. So no one is actually coming out and saying anything now as a way to do damage control. So we don't know. We don't know if that's where Otis has been, although he has been out golfing, so probably not. We don't know where Austin Theory went. There's a few people that kind of ghosted the shows, and there's no way of knowing. So with Apollo Crews, it's kind of a wait-and-see situation, but right now, that would explain why things went the way that they did at the horror show at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's one of those things where they're taking precautions and he came into contact with somebody outside of the building. Exactly. And it's, similar to Moxley's situation where he took a couple of weeks off before Fight for the Fallen. So we'll see. I mean, I had based off last week, we had high hopes of the speculation of Apollo going on radio shows and talking about a new babyface Nation of Domination coming up and all of these things happening. And then it was kind of fart in church last night where you went, just awful. I don't even understand. They just let all the air out of the balloon at Extreme Rules last night. I was actually really hyped of where it's going to go, and that was just okay.
Yeah, that was a very loud fart in church you just made there. But yes, agreed, and that this might at least give us some explanation for why they went the way that they did. However, really no explanation for how they're treating Ric Flair. Ric Flair was on another show that's remarkably similarly named to ours. Funny thing about that, we've been around for years. Ric Flair was on Busted Open Radio and was talking about multiple different things, mostly shooting the S about years and years ago back in the past. But he did bring up something that was very interesting. He started talking about his current run in WWE as the mentor / manager / wrangler / buddy of Randy Orton. And he was mentioning that while it was nice to be on TV and be wanted, and he enjoyed being there and loved working with Randy, he said that he didn't like how they kind of just forced him to do these generic promos. He actually said, and I quote, "Can I just get in character one time? Just talking generically is killing me. You have to practice. You get overwhelmed with the points you have to make in terms of the pay-per-view and the people and all that. I've always struggled with that, but it's so fun for me." So even the great Ric Flair, a guy who many would put on their Mount Rushmore of promos, is getting murdered by scripted WWE promos. And this is something I just want to kind of throw out there because of that is when your when your standard, when your practice for doing promos in your company, when how you guys think you want your talent to do promos, when you're stymieing the greatest promo guy of all time or one of them, you got to look at how you're doing this. Like what are you thinking here?
Yeah.
Like I understand you have to get the information out, you have to hit your SEOs and your talking points, but come on, man, you're killing Ric Flair here.
The other perspective I want to throw out there though is that like this is a position that Ric's never really been in before, where he's having to be the mentor, the coach, the corner captain, whatever you want to call it. He's usually been doing his in-character promos as part of a championship or a defense or anything along those lines. So is it right for him to get into full Nature Boy form in these circumstances? That's where I would argue and dispute him.
Interesting. So you're saying you'd rather him be a little bit more subdued because he's got to be representing somebody else. He has done it before. He did it for Charlotte for a while there.
Sure.
So it's not the first time, and definitely there's been other times as well. But I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, think about how awkward some of his promos have been over the last couple of weeks. They haven't had that fire, and they've left us kind of flat. And this is one of the most engaging, entertaining, charismatic guys on the stick that's ever lived. Why would you take that away from him? That's one of his greatest superpowers. And if you want to use him for good, you look at guys who came back and all of a sudden just seemed neutered on the mic. Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, and now Ric Flair. And it's one of those things where I have to think these are all guys who back in the day you could give them talking points and they'd get your points across. And now he's sitting here being frustrated by it, and that's frustrating me.
Yeah.
Let the man go. Just tell him, hey, you got to make sure that you hype up the pay-per-view. Okay, go.
Listen, but Rick, I want you to know I like what you're doing right now. I like the fact that you're coaching former Evolution teammate and all, and like you're going in it, and then on the flip side of that, you're going up to Big Show and you're countering that by saying, "Hey, Show, it's me. You know, I retire now while you can. Enjoy life, all that stuff. You got a sitcom. You're a millionaire. All I kind of dig what Flair's doing. He's sort of playing both sides here as that kind of manager backstage. And I'm not mad at it, but it's not Nature Boy, but I don't know if I want Nature Boy the way we remember him from 1988. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I'm saying the promos where he's coming out and giving the information is dry as hell. That one with Big Show was good, but yeah. I hope they let him get back to being what he, a little bit more natural of speaking. Yeah. He's the Nature Boy. Let him speak naturally. Go. But he is actually having fun being there. He says he wants to get a shot at the 24/7 title, which would be hilarious, but I doubt they're going to let him take a bump. He likes having fun with Randy. He's going out after the shows and having drinks with whoever wants to join him. He mentioned Corey Graves. He mentioned Mark Carrano, Kevin Dunn, Dolph Ziggler. So he is there having fun, just with the WWE standard of COVID testing. Dear God, Rick, be careful. Be careful. Because we don't want you to end up like what's happening with Bobby Fulton, who has just been hospitalized again. Now, you may remember Bobby Fulton from the Fantastics. He was a tag team with Tommy Rogers, Mid-South. A lot of programs with the Midnight Express. Yep. He actually was diagnosed with throat cancer back in December, started chemo in January, and said he mostly had gotten rid of all of it by like June, had like one tumor left. So it looked like he was on the path to recovery. He's just been hospitalized again in poor condition, according to his son. So sending out best wishes to him. Get well soon. Scary times to be in the hospital. So Get well, Bobby Fulton. And finally on our way out of here, Nick, we got to wish some happy birthdays. It's a Monday, so we got a lot of them. We had the whole weekend of happy birthdays. Robert Gibson from the Rock and Roll Express, who turned 62. Al Snow gets you some head at 57 years old. Joey Mercury is 41. Mandy Rose turned 29, all on Saturday the 18th. That was a lot of birthdays on Saturday.
Wow.
And then on yesterday on Sunday, Karrion Kross.
Yes.
Excuse me. He turned 35. Jinder Mahal turned 34. Hopefully he's getting his rehab done well. He'll be back soon. And finally today, the 20th, Adam Rose turned 41. Wait a minute. I got this all screwed up. Adam Rose turned 41. Happy birthday, Adam Rose. Happy birthday to everybody. That is the news. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Sir Ian Dangerous, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of BWO Daily. Make sure you subscribe to the channel by pounding that big red subscribe button and set your notifications to all so that you get notified anytime we put up a new episode. Plus, get into our Discord and all of our social media. You can find links to all of that stuff down in the description below. Well, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
And we will see you guys next time.